This video is called Our Dad's Garage. He's my dad. Yeah!
All right, well, the biggest area on this trailer's floor is that area right in the corner there in front of the slide out and against the bathroom wall. And that area, about 3 feet by 2 feet, is just soft. And it's obvious that it's completely rotted out. And you can see against that wall there that there's also some evidence of water damage there, even in that wall. So that whole area has got to be torn out, and it's going to be a big job.
All right, just so you can see what I'm talking about. This is wet, all in the floor. And it'll just all rotted. So we don't have any kind of flooring underneath here really to speak of. So once you get on back into here, I think it's going to be dry, and I'm going to take my saw and I'm going to cut basically this square out back to here and back to about here, because let's see, no, I'm going to have to cut all the way back to here because I believe this flooring right in here is still good. But that's kind of the plan right now. I'm going to tear all that out and get some new. This is just foam insulation. Now it's kind of come apart, but you can see it's 1 inch foam insulation. And then this is the floor of your trailer, which is aluminum, and it can't rot. So I mean, it's just a matter of, you need to see the slats that they built the floor on here are these 1x strips. They're just completely gone. I've got a reciprocating saw that I can cut square into, and I can cut down that edge and even kind of shape it around that wall and then back on the back side of that wall. And I think if we pull out so you can see, I think if we cut it back to here, all the way down to here and across, and then maybe just leave this this tile down, and we'll just go back on top of it with something. It just depends on the thickness of it once we get done, and then I know I've got room to put another floor on top of this, so I can put the PVC flooring back on top of this if we need to. So we'll just have to kind of scab it together, but it'll be all right. Well, it's going to look a whole lot worse before it looks better. The good news is that floor in the bathroom is in pretty good shape. I don't think I got to tear that out. They had replaced it up to there, and what they did was just leave all this old soft floor in here because they didn't want to do what I just did. So I'll tear all this on out, all the way down to the metal, which I think you can see. Well, you could see a minute ago. I'll clean it up in a minute and see a new one. But once it gets down to the metal, just to show you kind of what I did, this is one of my favorite tools. It's called the Job Max. It's a oscillating saw, and that little dude just vibrates, and you can get blades that are longer and flat, and you can get these round ones. But I like this round one, and what I did was I just went in on the floor where I knew it was soft, and I just put my blade in here and just cut. And I cut out everything in this floor where it was soft with this little saw, and I had to make several cuts at it and clean, and then take the pry bar and pry up what I could. It's too ugly and messy to really show you much, but I wanted to show you how I did that. I also have a little Dremel Saw Max. I don't know if these are great little tools too, and a lot of times these will get into places where you can cut where another saw wouldn't do. And these have an incredibly strong motor, and that little sucker will cut. And the other thing is just a regular jigsaw. Those are the kind of tools that you would need. And there it is installed. So now we've got a 1/2 inch lip around, and when we install the board in and screw the board, I bought some 2.5 inch self-tapping screws that will go through the board and secure all this down, creating a level floor system. Okay, and after a little bit of finagling with the pieces, I got that cut out of 2 pieces and spaced in there pretty nice. And that's, once I screw it down, that's really going to be perfectly level and a good subfloor then to put the new flooring on. So that's all right. So I got it screwed down. I used these self-tapping. These are 2.5. What I used was 2 3/4, but I bought 2 boxes just in case one wasn't long enough. But screwing those down and just tighten it down where it just countersinks the head of that thing down flush. You make sure you get it down below so you don't have any humps in your floor when you get your finished wood down. And man, it's solid. I mean, it really feels like a solid piece of floor here, I guess. You can see. Very good. It should all lay down very, very smooth from there. So, all right, well, I wanted to show you this too. The fresh water supply tank is here under the cabinet in the bathroom. That's where the toilet goes. And that flooring underneath it was completely rotted out from the roof leak from the front room where the slide out is. I don't know if you can see that, but it was in that floor and in this floor. And this is the floor that had been replaced before, and that's the piece of the floor that I replaced in the other room there, the fresh wood. But I've got that 2-inch foam insulation. I pulled all of that old floor out. Cynthia came over and actually helped me do this. We pulled all that old floor out and got it cleaned up in there, freshened up the wiring, cleaned up this freshwater tank, tested it, make sure it doesn't leak, hooked everything back up, and everything works. And so we've got all of our plumbing redone for that, and that's awesome. All right, well, I wanted to show you this too. There was an accident at some point, and a previous owner didn't take the stand down or didn't take the lift down before they drove off, and they literally bent that back under here, and they put this piece of steel in as a repair. But when it bent that under, what it did was it buckled the floor here at the door. So that floor is up probably, man, at least 3/4 of an inch, maybe a full inch, especially the high spot is right here. So I have drilled some holes here because underneath it's just aluminum. And if I get under here and show you, you can see the gap right here has lifted up. So this is steel, and this is steel, and this is steel. So my plan is I'm going to put a piece of steel across here with a hole in it, and I'm going to catch the floor up there, and I'm going to have a piece of all thread drop through here, and I'm going to tighten this, and I'm going to pull this floor back down flush with the steel, because this is right, but this is bowed way up, especially right in there where you can see that's a good, you know, inch gap where it could come on back down. So I'm going to do that and see if I can pull that floor back down level, and we'll just see how that works out. So I kind of got it set up now where I can actually use that pry bar. You can see this as I'm prying on it, it's pulling that floor down pretty level. I think if I keep working this, I'll be able to get that down. Well, it's better, but it's still not great. Our high spot really is right in here and here and here. If you look underneath, you'll see the reason is because that's where the thickest parts of those folded places there in the aluminum are. And what I'm going to do is take this angle grinder and I'm going to cut through those. I'm going to leave the rest of it. I'm going to cut through the thickest places, so there and right in there, and relieve that and see if I can pull it that way. Okay, well, with a little pulling from below and a little pushing from above and a little bit of help with my Bosch planer, which is a nice thing, I've taken all of the high spots out of that floor. And if you get back and look, we don't have that lip here on the edge that we were going to catch with before. And I can clean up this old linoleum here, but that's good and level, so it won't feel like you're stepping on a hump when you come in the front door anymore. So that should be good. All right, we're into this process of putting this flooring down, and it's going pretty smooth. I went ahead and put in a piece here at the threshold and screwed it down to the subfloor. So this is going to catch the edge of our flooring. And I've got this thing started. I went ahead and started against this run here because working around that is going to be the hardest part. And then I think you never really know until you get started with this what the best way to do it is. But running it then this way toward us, if there's any scratches on the floor that come from that slide out going out, they'll kind of go with the grain of wood. I thought that would look best that way. So as you come in, you'll just see it that way. So we're about halfway through the living room. The beautiful thing about this flooring is it's got its own backing on the back of it. Let me show you right here. Here's a piece of it. So it's got this cushion. It's already got a vapor barrier and a little cushion that it rides on, and so it'll float over areas, and it's, you know, even 1/4 of an inch thick total. 7 millimeters is what it says, so about 1/4 of an inch. So it'll float over those little gaps right there without any problem. And any of the little imperfections in the floor are going to hide pretty well with this. And I staggered that joint for that whole purpose. So if there's any difference in that floor height, it will carry across a couple of pieces. So it's pretty cool. I got a little back filler piece to go in there, but you know, it's going to look really good. You get it put in here to really make the difference. It's amazing how clean it looks automatically when you start putting in a good new floor. And another cool thing about the floor is I actually just use this cutoff wheel, metal cutoff wheel on a side grinder. Okay, we'll start here at the door. So I got most of that hump out. It's still up just a little bit more than it was, but I mean, that's not bad. So you come in here and you've got a good, I'll put this finished edge here on there so you won't drag your toe. And so all the flooring is new, even into the bathroom. I haven't cut the hole for the toilet yet, but I've got it marked. But everything around there, that's the supply to the toilet. And all that finished out. I put that same finished edge here that I did at the front door. So that's all got down. So I've got to put some 1/4 round down just in a few places just to hide the gaps that'll be there. Back there behind the refrigerator won't matter, so I'm not going to worry about that anymore. But man, that turned out really good. Nice and solid. It's very smooth through here. Doesn't feel like anything was pieced together, so that's nice. Anyway, there's that. By the way, that was 3 boxes of flooring, and you are looking at every single piece of scrap. Just a few little pieces is all, and I managed to make those 3 boxes stretch. So that's amazing. I thought for sure I was going to run out, but I didn't.